welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to show you how to make lacto-fermented hot sauce. If you are new to the world of fermentation, this is a really great recipe to get started. I highly encourage you to try fermenting fruits and vegetables at home because they are a wonderful source of your good for you bacteria, probiotics, also makes nutrients bioavailable, your vitamins, minerals and enzymes, and you get really delicious byproducts such as your lacto-fermented hot sauce, kimchi, sauerkraut and so on. So today in this video I'm going to cover the basics of lacto-fermentation, tools you'll need, ingredients, and just the basic techniques on how you can start your lacto-fermentation journey. So let's get started. So as we know, fermentation is not a new thing, right? Like this is probably the oldest food preservation technique, and lacto-fermentation happens to be one of them. In the case of lacto-fermentation, we are essentially trying to create an ideal environment where our lactobacillus bacteria, which are good bacteria, we want them to thrive and populate, whereas we want the bad bacteria, microbes, yeast and all that to die off. So as I'm fermenting, I'll show you and talk a little bit more about that. But first, let's go through our ingredients and tools we will need to make our hot sauce. So talking about the ingredients, I am going to use green chilies today. You can do red chilies if that's what you have, or a combination, and a couple cloves of garlic. You can also do other aromatics like ginger or onion. Then next is salt. This is really important. So for salt, I have kosher salt. You can do sea salt, Himalayan salt, anything that's not processed and has lots of minerals, because that's what our bacteria like. I would discourage the use of iodized salt because it doesn't have any minerals. It also has anti-caking agents, so that can interfere with your fermentation. And lastly, water. Filter water is ideal, but if you have tap water, that works too. Next, let's talk about the tools. It's very minimal, and you don't need anything fancy. If you have a mason jar or some sort of a glass jar with a tight-fitting lid, that is the best. And the next is, if you can get like a weighing scale, like a very simple scale, that would be really helpful, because when it comes to lacto-fermentation, we like to do ratios, so it makes your fermentation really accurate. If you don't have a weighing scale, or if you don't plan on getting one anytime soon, a tablespoon will work as well, and I'll tell you how to do those conversion in just a little bit. So let's gather our ingredients, let's get our tools, and let's get going. So now we are ready to begin our fermentation process, and it's a two-step process. So first we are going to create a brine. By that I mean is we are creating a salt water solution, and with lacto-fermentation, particularly for hot sauce, we're looking for 2.5% brine. And there are different ways of doing this, but I'm going to show you the way that I find really simple, and hopefully it'll be simple enough for you as well. So first I'm going to get my scale. I'm going to zero out everything. To this, I'm going to start adding my peppers. This has already been rinsed, so make sure you rinse and wash your peppers. I'm simply going to take the stems off, maybe like break it into half, just so that it fits in here. All right. If you want, you can chop it, but I find that really unnecessary. If you're using a larger jar, if the whole pepper fits in, you can do that too. For the peppers, the seeds and the inside, the white part is where all the heat is. If you can't tolerate heat, or if you don't want your hot sauce to be super spicy, you can actually take the seed off. It's just a little tedious, so I just like to put the whole pepper in. So, alright. So my total pepper weight is, let's see, so this is about 103 grams. To that, I'm going to add my garlic cloves. Let's see. So the total weight of that is about 137. To this, I'm going to add my water. I'm going to add enough water to cover this and get the total weight. So this is about 411 grams. So once I have my total weight of the ingredients that I'm using, so my peppers and garlic, which is 411, I'm going to calculate 2.5%. So 2.5% of 411, that is about 10.27, so about 10 grams. So that means I'm going to need about 10 grams of salt to create that 2.5% brine. So then I'm going to quickly drain the water here. Alright, zero this out again. Let's see. Then I'm going to add that 10 grams of salt. And remember to zero out your scale, okay? 8. That's 10 grams, so I'm going to make a quick brine. Alright, so everything is in here, and our lactobacillus bacteria, they are anaerobic, meaning they don't like oxygen. So it's really important for you to submerge everything in this brine. And if you have like something to weigh this down, there are fermentation weights that you can get. But if you are just starting out, or if you don't want to invest in a lot of tools right now, you can use like a small disc, like a little saucer, or I'm just using a little cup here to just, you know, push everything down, because you don't want any air, any oxygen, otherwise it will spoil your batch. So, alright, so make sure you have a lid, tightly cover the lid, you know, submerge everything, and if you can get like a little label or like a painter's tape or whatever, write the date. So today is, what is today's date? Today is the 16th, so 21, so you know when you made this and you can keep an eye on it. So this is, you know, ready, and what's happening here is the first step, the salt water is going to kill off, you know, harmful bacteria and yeast that's present in here, and encourage our lactobacillus bacteria to thrive, you know, and we're going to let this sit on our countertop for about 7 to 10 days. And in that process, those lactobacillus bacteria will feed off on the sugar that's naturally present on our peppers and garlic, and it will start creating lactic acid, which is why there will be tang and that really depth of flavor in this byproduct. Once you label your jar, you know, this is ready to begin the fermentation. The process can take anywhere between 7 to 10 days. I have a batch that I made about 2 weeks ago, and this is ready. So I'm going to show you. I'm going to keep this back here, so that will stay on my countertop for about 7 to 10 days, and this is what you will be seeing in the next 7 to 10 days, okay? So your brine will not be as clear, okay? This will start to look a little cloudy, which is completely normal. In 3 days or so, you may see some air bubbles. That means your, you know, bacteria are thriving, things are happening. Those are just carbon dioxide that's been present, and the fermentation won't be as active like your kombucha or sauerkraut or kimchi. This will be very like slow fermentation. So now next step is we are going to take our jar and strain off the brine and our peppers. So we have it. Alright. And this will go into the blender, so we get that nice hot sauce consistency. Let's see. And so I'm going to start blending this, and I'll probably add little brine at a time. Right, here we go. So now that I've blended this is still like little thick, and depending on the type of your blender or depending on what kind of sauce you're looking for, you can add more brine, which I might do just for a little bit. So let's see. Alright, so it looks like it's pretty thin. So once you have your hot sauce blended, this is pretty much ready, and at this point, you can decide how you want your hot sauce. You can, take this and directly put it in a jar and enjoy it. You can strain it to catch all the extra seeds and some texture, or you can thin it down even more. I've also seen recipes where people will make like a sriracha style hot sauce where they will add little vinegar, honey, xanthan gum to give that thicker texture. You can explore all those options, but since we are just doing like a basic hot sauce today, I think I'm going to just leave it at that. Maybe I'll strain it to show you the texture. Again, if you catch all these textures, don't throw that. They have all those nutrients we talked about. They're so good. You can use them as a spread. You can add to your soups. And one thing that I want to quickly mention is you can cook with probiotic rich foods, okay? Even though lactobacillus bacteria, they don't tolerate heat, once you cook or introduce heat to them, those bacteria, those probiotic effects will not be there, but the nutrients will still be there. So you're still eating really nutritious product. So don't be afraid to cook with your probiotic rich food, like make kimchi fried rice or add sauerkraut to your grilled cheese. I add hot sauce to my pasta sauces. I add to like soups all the time because it's so flavorful, and you're still getting the nutrition benefits. There just won't be that probiotic benefits in there. So I'm almost done straining off all the seeds and bits and pieces, and this hot sauce is ready to be enjoyed as is. At this point, you can get a bottle and jar it, and I'm going to leave this in the fridge because the fermentation will still continue, right? But it'll go at a very, very slow rate. So I'm going to pour this back in my jar, and this is ready. And as you see, this has a pretty runny texture, and that's completely fine. And I'm just going to use this for my scrambled eggs. I pretty much put this on everything. I hope this video was helpful for you to understand the basics of lacto-fermentation, and will inspire you to begin your own hot sauce journey. I can't wait to hear what you think of it. Leave me a comment below. Until then, please take care. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.